"I have to apologize, Mr. Tregear, for keeping you waiting," she said as she entered the room. "I fear I was before my time." "I know that I am after mine. A few minutes," said the lady. He told himself that though she was not a young woman, yet she was attractive. She was dark, and still wore her black hair in curls, such as are now seldom seen with ladies. Perhaps the reduced light of the chamber had been regulated with some regard to her complexion and to her age. The effect, however, was good, and Frank Tregear felt at once interested in her. "You've just come up from Matching?" he said. "Yes, only the day before yesterday. It is very good of you to come to me so soon." "Of course I came when you sent for me." "I am afraid the Duke felt his loss severely." "How should he not, such a loss as it was? Few people knew how much he trusted her, and how dearly he loved her. Silverbridge has told me that he is awfully cut up." "You have seen Lord Silverbridge, then?" "Just at present I am living with him at Carlton Terrace." "In the Duke's house?" she asked with some surprise. "Yes, in the Duke's house. Silverbridge and I have been very intimate. Of course the Duke knows that I am there." "Is there any chance of his coming to town?" "Not yet, I fear. He is determined to be alone. I wish it were otherwise, as I am sure he would better bear his sorrow if he would go about among other men." "No doubt he would suffer less," said Tregear. Then there was a pause. Each wished that the other should introduce the matter, which both knew was to be the subject of their conversation, but Tregear would not begin. "When I left them all at Florence," he said, "I little thought that I should never see her again." "You had been intimate with them, Mr. Tregear?" "Yes, I think I may say I have been intimate with them. I had been at Eton and at Christchurch with Silverbridge, and we've always been much together." "I have understood that. Have you and the Duke been good friends?" "We've never been enemies." "I suppose not that." "The Duke, I think, does not much care about young people. I hardly know what he used to do with himself. When I dined with them I saw him, but I did not often do that. I think he used to read a good deal, and walk about alone. We were always riding." "Lady Mary used to ride?" "Oh, yes, and Lord Silverbridge and Lord Gerald, and the Duchess used to drive. One of us would always be with her." "And so you became intimate with the whole family?" "So I became intimate with the whole family." "And especially so with Lady Mary?" This she said in her sweetest possible tone, and with a most gracious smile. "Especially so with Lady Mary," he replied. "It will be very good of you, Mr. Tregear, if you endure and forgive all this cross-questioning from me, who am a perfect stranger to you." "But you are not a perfect stranger to her." "That is it, of course. Now, if you will allow me, I will explain to you exactly what my footing with her is. When the Duchess returned, and when I found her to be so ill as she passed through London, I went down with her into the country, quite as a matter of course. So I understand. And there she died, in my arms. I will not try to harass you by telling you what those few days were, how absolutely he was struck to the ground, how terrible was the grief of the daughter, how the boys were astonished by the feeling of their loss. After a few days they went away. It was, I think, their father's wish that they should go. And I, too, was going away, and had felt indeed directly her spirit had parted from her that I was only in the way in his house. But I stayed at his request, because he did not wish his daughter to be alone. I can easily understand that, Mrs. Finn. I wanted her to go to Lady Cantrip, who had invited her, but she would not. In that way we were thrown together in the closest intercourse for 2 or 3 weeks. Then she told me the story of your engagement. That was natural, I suppose. Surely so. Think of her position, left as she is without a mother. It was incumbent on her to tell someone. There was, however, one other person in whom it would have been much better that she should have confided. What person? Her father.